Airport. At that airport. What? Well.
Extra panic soda.
This year's Mel, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Tim, do you have the list of the officers?
Wait a minute, did you
Yeah,
take all my other
and
stuff?
out, yeah. Okay.
You took all my other stuff?
Okay. From the other meeting?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it was cleared out between the meetings.
Oh,
I have a whole pile of stuff here. It's probably in my pile.
take all my stuff. Take my toys and go home.
We just. Yeah, we haven't tossed anything here.
Okay.
Okay, we ready to start?
Sir.
All right, it is 1:13. I'd like to call the August 26th, 2025 meeting of the County of Oswego Industrial Development Agency to order. Tim Stahl, would you please take a roll call?
Sure thing. All right, Nick Canale.
Present.
Pat Carroll is excused. Mary Ellen Chesbro.
Here.
Peter Clark is excused. Mark Greco.
Here.
Install, I am here, and Gary Standard is excused. You have a forum.
Okay, thank you. Austin, can you go over the
Absolutely.
staff and guests?
Yes, so joining us here today is Austin Wheelock, CEO of the IDA, Kevin Lamontagne, CFO of the IDA, IDA General Counsel Kevin Caracoli, as well as Nathan Emmons, staff of Operation Oswego County. We are anticipating being joined by Ed Alberts sometime later in this meeting related to an item on the agenda.
Okay, thank you. The minutes from the last two meetings.
On a motion, second. Or do you both with food separate?
Separate.
Okay. I'll
All right.
make a motion for first.
July, Tim and Mark. Any discussion, questions, comments? All those in favor? All right. Any opposed? Motion carries. August minutes.
I'll make a
The impromptu meeting. Mark, seconded by Tim. Any questions, comments, concerns? All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Notice the meeting was in the Pale Times on August 12th. Election of officers.
The cheat sheet for this topic.
Kevin is out right now, a list of the current committee members and chairs as well as the current officers.
So what's the procedure on this? Do we?
This is to the chair can
Request nominations?
you can make nominations if you want to change, or you can offer a slate of the existing officers and committees if that.
Does anybody have any interest in changing anything up here?
No, people don't like me.
Making sure that
Works for me.
1 o'clock.
But
I would propose that we leave everything the same and offer the existing committees the same and the officers the same. I mean, questions are,
You making that motion?
I'm asking for someone to make that
Okay.
motion. Mel,
I'll second.
seconded by Tim. Any discussion, questions, comments? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
That's committee assignments and officers. Was this should be
All of it,
correct? Yeah.
okay.
yeah, you made the motion that the slate stay the same going forward for
For the officers and the committee memberships. Governance committee recommendations. So the governance committee met today. The only ones that were here were Mel and I and the rest of the guys. And we, it's the recommendation of the governance committee to request that the board approve the existing the bylaws as amended or?
as offended. Yeah.
So in an earlier meeting of the governance committee, we requested some changes to be made and Kevin has made those changes. And they made sense to Mel and I the way that he presented it today. And we'd like to request that the board approve the bylaws in that form. Everyone should have a copy of that in your packet.
In the packets. Maybe in the back.
Kevin can review what the changes were that were made.
So the primary change that was actually changed at the last
Governance committee.
governance before this one today was
You don't have
on
it.
page 5.
Anyone needs a copy?
I
Yeah, it looks like you, Mark.
The
There's two there.
implementation of an ad hoc committee or the ability to establish ad hoc committees for particular topics that may come up. There was no real authority in prior bylaws for doing that. That's the change from last year's reaffirmed bylaws to this year's bylaws. And I believe that should be on page 5.
Page 5.
The only change.
Section 5, page 5, ad hoc special committees. So with the adoption of the bylaws, the revised, reaffirmed bylaws, I think that provision is going to come into play later on in this meeting.
Yeah.
Just a spoiler alert.
Okay. Anybody got any questions or concerns with that? No. And I think that we had the authority to do that in the past. We're just spelling it out. We've done it in the past.
We've done it in the past. There
Putting
hasn't
it in the
been,
bylaw.
yeah. So now
So-
there's
Clear. No question.
no question.
So can we get a vote on? So what do we got? We got, I need a motion and a second to approve the bylaws as changed.
That's the only change.
That's the only change.
I'll make the motion.
Mark, seconded by,
I'll second it.
I didn't think I should since
I
I'm.
agree. So Mark seconded by Tim. All those in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now, just a review of what else happened at the governance committee meeting today. We reviewed our policies and there are a number of policies that need some work, some tweaking in order to be in line with state policies that have changed over the last few years. Okay, so Kevin is in the process, along with the staff, of reviewing those policies. There were some recommendations that are listed in the package that we had at the governance committee. There's extensive work that needs to be done to make it into compliance because all the state policies have changed that reflect these policies. So we're recommending that we not affirm those policies at this meeting and give these guys until December to make the changes, get them to us a little bit ahead of time so that we can review them, and then we'll affirm our policies at that point. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. The other item is the mission statement. And we reviewed the mission statement in conjunction with a number of mission statements from nearby IDAs. The goal is to include housing into this mission statement so that we can feel more comfortable moving forward with housing projects
Strictly housing projects, yeah.
that aren't multi-use facilities. So there's a little bit of tweaking that we asked these guys to work on from the recommendation that they had today. And our hope is that Boston's going to wordsmith this a little bit, get it to the full board and get it out to us so that we can vote on that in the September or October meeting and get that passed and affirmed at that point and changed. Okay. It's something that I think we need to do sooner rather than later. So if we can get that done, I don't think it'll take a lot to redo that, right?
No, and it'll lead into any changes to our UTEP related to housing. So it's one of those things that you want to have in there. They're making those changes as well. So things in order.
I just have one question. I see I'm the chair of the audit committee. When does that mean? When do we meet? What is that for? When are we gonna-
So that'll be actually very soon because the audit committee needs to meet related to the audit. Usually in the past, we've done 2 meetings. There's one that we do with our auditors is sort of just, this is the ground rules. This is what we're going to do. And then you'll meet again prior to the October meeting where you will be presented with the financials, with the audited financials and make a recommendation to the full board for approval. So that will, as of right now, our October meeting for the IDA is October 24th. So it probably will be That meeting is at 8:30 a.m. Probably what it would be is an 8 a.m. audit committee meeting that would precede that. But what we're trying to do right now is just schedule with our auditors when they come in and do sort of the first meeting where they go over the rules with you guys. So that'll be coming very soon though. They'll be starting that. I mean, Kevin, I don't know if we have a date yet for when they're actually
The
gonna be on
field work
site.
is studied or dated, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So probably what we'll do is we'll package those together. So when they're here, we can have that.
work has started, but yeah.
Good question. That is coming very soon.
And the concept of an ad hoc committee to work on the UTEP, discuss other business.
Yeah.
Okay,
We don't have a general financial report that because we had.
So because right now that was the end of year one, we're trying to do some reconciliation related to that. We did not do it twice. We're going to do it at the say the September meeting. Yeah.
Real brief comment, we saw through the end of June, as you know, Tim, and no particular surprises or anything in July. It's just the year-end reconciliations of different accounts, and bad debt reserve is a big one for the IDA, fixed assets, normal things. Yeah,
You
so
get pilot fees in July, right?
yes,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, correct. Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, but I anticipate, so we went through the revenue in detail at the July meeting, and we're basically, no surprises to where we think coming in ahead of the target.
We're above where we
Ahead
targeted.
of sort of our
Actually.
historical. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
okay, so that is the recap of the governance committee meeting and everything that needed to come out of that. Item number 5, OC IDA Administrative Services Agreement.
Don't we have to sneak this in?
Yeah, this is something that we have in your packet that's not on the agenda here. Bring it to your attention before we do that. It's just in the order of what the documents you have here, an acknowledgement of fiduciary duties and responsibilities. This is something that we want to make sure that we are taking care of. This is something we need to do at every sort of annual meeting of the IDA. So it was one that we got in the packet, but it's not specifically spelled out on the agenda here. But this is something we need to have signed by all members, and obviously we don't have all members here today, but we do have signed by all members who are in attendance, just on an annual basis. So just stating that you've read and understand the mission, understand your obligations to the authority, understand confidential discussions, confidential matters, and then also understand conflict of interest. So that's, read through. If you agree to all of those, we do need to have this on record on an annual basis from all members. Anything else?
Very much.
Yes.
Governance sort of discussion.
Yeah, I guess if we wanted to do that. So I also have a form here that I will pass around before the end of this meeting that's related to just conflict of interest. Pretty much stating that you have received a copy of the conflict of interest policy. There's no changes after that at this time. Understand the policy and agree to comply with the policy. So that is something else that will be asked to be signed by all members. Well, so just making sure we're doing the things that we need to do. Yep.
Okay. Administrative Services Agreement.
Yep. Okay, so I'll go over this. So our administrative service agreement with Operation Oswego County, it currently goes through the end of this year. So we are requesting that agreement be extended. Going there is one slight. So right now, the administrative service agreement was at a number of $419,000 for the last 3 years. In our last agreement, there was a statement at the end of it stating that if the agreement was not to have been extended, it would automatically be extended with a 3% increase. What I have done, because I think that, and I'll explain this a little bit more, is that there are certain things that we didn't necessarily that are increasing our costs on our end for doing administrative stuff. One in particular is the project management administration related to the industrial park build out. That's the one major thing. Is that we are requesting as what had already been put in there, that if it hadn't been extended, it would be at a 3% number, is to just sort of build that in and codify it in the agreement, is that and asking for this to be extended for 2 years. So we're asking for the agreement to be extended for 2 years through December 31st, 2027. And with that 3% increase, not not two 3% increases, but just one 3% increase that would be carried forward for both of those years. So
So we're 419, now we're going to 431.5
431.5, yes, yep. And that would be
as of the first of the year.
as of the first of the year, yeah, not related to
Pay this in a lump sum, or how do we do this?
quarterly payments.
Well, I see you were the same for 3 years and now we're
Right.
just the same for 2 years.
Correct.
Now, what about the third year? After that, should it be another 3 years?
We've done it in 2-year increments in the past.
But you did it for 3 years here.
Well, we extended it for one more year at that same number.
Okay,
So it looks like it's, I mean, that is the truth. It was 3 years at that number, but it was a 2-year agreement that was extended for one more year at that number. I'm asking at the point that we kind of go back to that 2-year cycle with that increase, a one-time increase of 3%.
And then in 2 years, we're gonna next year, we'll reevaluate whether we need to go for the following year.
Yeah. I mean, you could let it ride for a year and a half and then look at it again when we're midway through 2027, like what we're doing right now, or you could look at it again next year and add another year, which is sort of what we've done in the past.
Yeah, I'd feel more comfortable with that.
Just so you know, it's always out there a little ways. Yeah. We didn't do this last year because a lot of the members were new and we wanted to make sure that they were comfortable and not asking was one of their first actions on the board to extend it without knowing that. So, why we're in the position we're in now.
And I think that it was extended after the first 2 years because of the transition
okay,
and the succession from Mount to Austin.
I see, okay.
That's kind of the reason why that you got that 3 years out there. I've seen.
Yeah, I don't think we've had an update in a couple of years. I don't know if we want to see if they can put together a couple of years ago. I think it was Len Schick had asked for
Mhm.
kind of a breakout of between the two
Yeah.
agreements. But
Yeah.
a quick reminder, the county contracts directly with Operation Oswego County annually as well, but specifically for certain items. And then
Yes.
purposely, this was kind of set up to kind of be a carve out to kind of
Yeah.
complement the other half.
So-
So
The good thing is that we still do that because it helps me when we're developing our budget to do that. So I can provide that at our next meeting. That wouldn't be a challenge.
it'd be helpful to have that for the county budget process as well.
So
Yeah. So what we need to do now is, so that's the only change that's in here, correct?
correct.
Yeah.
The only change is the 3% increase and it's a 1% or
You added a couple of little additional duties.
I just added the one. I think it was really the project management and site development activities at IDO and properties that was really specific to the industrial park development because
That's included in here.
that was added as an additional service. Everything else is sort of still services that are being provided. Those don't change. I mean, we're
Can we get
still,
a motion on this?
I'll make a motion.
A second,
Motion by Tim, seconded by Mel. Any questions, comments?
Just one comment. This still has to be adopted by the Operation Oswego
Correct.
County Board,
Okay.
which will be on their agenda.
I wanted to
for
bring it to you guys.
September 8th.
Understanding is they are in support of the numbers we put there.
Yeah. Well, let me state this. It's been brought to the executive committee and the executive committee will make the recommendation to the full board
At the
of
next meeting.
Operation Oswego County. But they don't meet until September 8th.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Industrial park expansion.
Yeah, so good news. I think everybody saw the last week, actually last Tuesday, it was officially announced that the Oswego County Industrial Park received $8.1 million from Fast New York, which is the remaining dollars needed to build a project as proposed. So it's very exciting news. And as I said before, the other thing that's good about this is now the state has money invested in this and they're gonna work partners with us to make sure that this is a successful project. So it's not just the news about the dollars, but it's also about the assisting to make this thing successful, which if you've seen with any of the other Fast New York sites out there, they've been successful, like the Triangle site in Rome, Chobani's $1 billion investment there, and some of the other major ones that out in Genesee County with the Stamp site with getting Edwards Vacuum and some of those. So it's a great thing. What's happening here in terms of, I'm going to turn it over to Nate in a second to kind of talk about where we are with our final design, but everything is on schedule at this point for us to sort of, get some shovels in the ground here, later this fall, ceremonial shovels, but we're gonna have an event down there at the entrance to the new industrial park. All IDA members, county, other state partners and federal partners will be invited to that event to sort of get it officially started with the, majority of the work to take place, starting in spring.
Schumer coming again.
I don't know. Well, I don't know. We'll see.
Invite him.
No, we haven't sent any invites out yet. I believe the date will probably be sometime mid-October is what we're looking for, just to, keep away from the snow and that stuff. But I'll turn it over to Nate to kind of talk about where we are in the design.
Yeah, so starting in August, I have a bi-weekly meeting with CNS virtually to talk about the project. So I just had my last meeting with them last week. So just kind of a quick rundown. So we are at 60%. We're waiting for the 60% drawings from CNS right now. So they should be coming honestly any day. And that is just kind of, we're 60% through the kind of this phase of the project in terms of the work that they need to get ready and done prior to having this project go out to bid. Along with that, there's a kind of a few big things that they're working on, a pump station design. They're working with the town right now on that and being reviewed by the DEC. They're working with National Grid, both on natural gas and the electric side. They're going to put in a new gas line from 264 and circle around the EJ USA side of the current park to connect into the new park. So that will be a new about 6,000 linear feet of natural gas going, a new natural gas line going on in. Again, they're working with National Grid right now on that substation design. New 12-inch water main will be going on in. It's a little bit bigger than what we need, but we're planning for future expansion and growth. Especially if we continue to expand the industrial park out that way. So I think it's a very smart move. They're working with Oswego County Health Department right now on that review. They're almost ready to put in the joint app for wetlands with Army Corps. They're almost done with their drawings and they'll be submitting for the jurisdictional determination with New York State DEC very soon as well. So working on that, working on stormwater right away. I'm also working with the town on that. They're working with county DOT. And we also have a traffic study that's about to begin on 264, the 264 entrance to the current park to get some numbers. And they have a calculation that they use to kind of forward think on what might what kind of improvements and changes that might need to be made.
Was there mention of a light there?
It could be partly determined by the kind of the traffic study and kind of.
Will that be for all the time or just for the construction part of it?
This is for the permanent change.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we actually built into our budget not worst case, but like a full build out if it was needed, a light and, a turn lane and other things. They're widening the entrance. So that's actually built into our budget.
Okay.
In terms of that number. So we have that accounted for. It's not a unaccounted number. So it could be less, could be a little bit less.
Yeah. I mean, I'm envisioning if people coming off of 481, you're going to have a line on that 481 waiting at the red light. Anyways.
Yeah.
So I'm working with CNS right now to submit a shovel ready grant to National Grid. Kind of a small piece, but kind of our final funding piece, if you will, for the park itself. I mean, I guess the only thing I would say, and this is not unusual with any project now more than ever, with the delays to be made, they're usually on sort of the, working with state agencies and so on and so forth. And, not everybody moves in the time frame that we would like to move in. And so we're just anticipating, some of that as we move forward this fall, that it may not always not anything that we're not doing. It's just the fact that we think it gets reviewed next week and it gets reviewed 3 weeks from now and kind of just puts a little hiccups in our road as we go forward.
The good thing is
we're on track. So.
With the state having funding in it, they will also advocate on our behalf with any state agencies that may be dragging their feet. So, and actually, I do want to add, we just got the Nate, we just got the 60% design drawings. So there they've got it. So we'll have to review those now that we have them. But yeah, so Nick and we discussed this. I think that one of the things is that now that this is becoming really real in terms of, we're going from, the design and the fundraising component, now we're going into the implementation. It would probably be best. It doesn't necessarily have to be every month, but there might be monthly or every other month meetings with a select committee that helps to, make recommendations to the full board. It could be related to bids. It could be related to, things that come up as we go along here. So, with the with the bylaws now stating the ad hoc committees, I think that, it's timely that we actually look to form a implementation committee that can be nimble and meet outside of the regular IDA meetings to sort of help provide guidance and make recommendations for the full board.
And my recommendation would be that we have, I think Tim should be a part of it because he has been through this process with some other projects in the past, and I think his knowledge will be helpful. And I think we should have one of you on the committee.
Is this for
It's in
the,
your district.
it's in my district.
I was just thinking that, it's in her backyard, so.
As well as chair of EDP.
Yeah,
So I think if it was myself and you two on the
Okay.
committee, I think that would make sense.
Sounds good.
Okay?
Yeah, I agree.
Let me remind you that though that you can have non-members on these special.
Does anybody have any thoughts on a non-member that should be on the committee?
Do we need to do a formal process to appoint, or could they be added between now and then, or?
It could be
at the meeting?
They can be added at any time.
yes, we go to see what's gonna be going on, to bring in somebody.
Especially, I think the county highway would make some sense, I think, in that area, especially some of the experiences.
Even if we're bringing them in for one meeting or two meetings.
Yeah,
You know,
if we're just, if you're gonna be discussing DOT and everything, and the highway and
Mhm.
that kind of stuff.
Bringing Brian Anderson to talk about national grid.
Grid, right.
And I'll also say there could be some people at the state level that because they have funding in this project, they may want to not necessarily be on a standing member, but brought in as needed.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Or let them know what we're doing and if they would like to, attend,
Mhm.
invite.
So it'll be us three to start. Okay?
Right. You're sad not
You want to
to.
take my place? Mark?
I know what you're sad.
Our best. Stuck in my head as soon as it started the conversation.
Okay. So, anything else on the industrial park expansion at this point?
Well, I just think we've hit a real major milestone with this and we're in the next phase. We've turned a chapter and now the hard work starts.
I just like to, from the board's perspective, I'd like to thank you guys for all the hard work you've done to get to this point.
It's been a long road here.
And I want to in particular thank Nate because Nate really put together the application. We worked on it together. We kind of had, these meetings with who we had to meet with, but he sort of took all the stuff floating around and put it into a clear, application as well as presentation. And that was extremely important in getting to where we are now.
This has been a long time in the process that we've been working on this, right? Years.
Oh, yeah,
So-
years.
That's a great point. It really, we should probably recognize the previous board members who were.
Gary and others who
Yeah.
put some a lot of effort
Forever.
into this.
Kevin Gardner, I know was influential in that process in the past. It just.
Dave Turner.
Yeah, make it clear.
There's been a lot of people that have worked hard on this.
Yeah.
And,
And not to mention all of the wastewater that we really had to work with the town and the village and the county
Yeah.
just to get the wastewater so that this could happen.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
I think that
so
was
many
important because if they didn't feel there was an answer there, then that would have been a huge red flag.
Yeah.
So it was really a group effort to try to
It's nice. when you
make everything come together to get here.
and what I'd like to say is that these things, sometimes you may not see the end game when they start, but the timing couldn't be better than to have this come out now
Oh.
with Micron coming and everything. And that wasn't even on the horizon when we started this,
No.
right? But if we didn't start this when we did, this wouldn't be happening
No.
at all, right? So it's the willingness to go out on a limb a little bit and start something.
Well, to be able to see ahead, to be able to work outside the box.
So I just think it's a tribute to this agency and forethought, and I think it's great that this is happening. So, anybody else? We're good. Moving along.
Matt, just about the order of the agenda, one of our guests is here for number 11. Do we want to adjust anything? Because we're far from getting to him time wise.
I have no problem moving that up if you want.
There will be an executive session, probably discussion required with that.
Either do two or one.
11. that's why we put it right before executive session, so. We just have them wait too.
Let's just keep moving as fast as we can.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
We
It's
talked about-
incentive to
yeah.
move fast.
Most of these things on the agenda have been discussed.
Next up is this housing visions in Fulton redevelopment. Nestle.
Yeah, and I'll just say that, obviously we've had, the company has come in to discuss, I believe, we've had discussions about the project. We had a public hearing, last Friday. You have inside of your packet here, sort of the minutes, I believe. We have minutes, yeah.
You don't have the minutes.
Minutes, oh, you-
No.
So we had a newspaper article from it, that it was 100% support for the project. There was 25 to 30 people in the room, and every comment that came up was positive. We do have, we have minutes that we created that, but just over and over, it was people coming up talking about, how it could be a project that would be, support the growth in Fulton that's needed. One individual in particular, Dave Mankiewicz, came up and spoke, specifically about how this project is identified and sort of, it should be an IDA priority based on our housing study and many of the items that were within it. And I can't disagree with any of the statements that were made, but it was it was a universal support by those who were there in attendance. And we did not receive any statements from any of the taxing authorities, be it the school, the city, or the county, that had any concerns with the pilot agreement for the project.
Okay. Wonderful.
Kevin, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I mean, should we go? We should just jump into the cost benefit, not about the public hearing.
Yeah, no, I think that was
Public. So we've also sent a deviation letter to the taxing authorities as per standard process, because this is a deviation. And as Austin said, we haven't gotten any comments or requests for any amendments, so. Yeah, the cost benefit, I'll just jump into it. The cost benefit in the packet. You're familiar with the project from past meetings. There's a nice color rendering of the development.
Yeah.
At the corner of Fay and the proposed development, the corner of Fay and 7th Street on a 3-acre parcel or 2.9-acre brownfield site, former Nestle manufacturing location. 50-unit, complex, 52,500 square feet, which will provide a mix of affordable moderate income apartments for households earning between 30 and 80% of area median income. At the public hearing, Ben Lockwood from Housing Visions described the income levels and the types of job categories in the Fulton market that would house based on those bands, and we've discussed that as a group before, but it's, this is workforce housing, and this is working families and individuals and others. It's met all the plan, so the budget there is 23 point, just under 24 million. That's met all the planning, zoning requirements in the city of Fulton, so that we have green lights as far as the local approvals go. They will have, you can see the stack of capital going in the project, as is typical with a project. This is funded very typically to projects like this with the NYS HCR mortgage. There's some bridge financing, and then it's taken out with the tax credit investor later on once the project is open. The benefits of the project to some degree are self-explanatory by the project itself, but the Housing Visions will create 2 full-time jobs at the site for management, administration, and security purposes. So they'll have an on-site presence. They've requested a 15-year pilot that has a minimum payment of $25,000 a year, or 7% of gross adjusted rents, net effective rents, thank you, which is just net, not gross, which is essentially rents less utility costs. It's a measure in this housing industry. We've had experience with another Housing Visions project, which has a similar pilot here in the city of Oswego, though a bigger project has a larger minimum. They have been paying higher than the minimum due to their net effective rents being above the minimum. We anticipate this project will average in the mid-30s over the life of the pilot. So they're approximately 35,000 average based on their projections.
Okay.
In addition, the pilot, again, as typical of a large sales tax exemption and mortgage property tax exemption to support the construction financing mortgage.
Okay.
So that's kind of nickel review of this cost benefit analysis. Anything to add?
No, I think you covered it.
What we're being asked to do is approve the pilot. That's it. That's
The-
all
the
the idea,
package of
not doing
benefit.
any financing, but
No financing into this. I could give a little highlight of we had the 4 resolutions on the agenda. The seeker resolution will be adopting the city's negative declaration. The city treated it and we concur as an unlisted action. We reviewed their environmental form and their process. Us, staff and the council have reviewed that. So that'll be the seeker resolution, then typical 3 other.
even considering if this was a brownfield site, it's an unlisted action.
Yeah, it meets the
It's
requirement.
already been remediated enough.
The
or-
portion of
Yeah.
the site.
Because it was the parking lot or?
Yeah. Stuff.
And it's not like the one down here.
Okay,
It's a lighter shade of brown.
okay,
Good way to put it.
okay.
Kevin, what's the 4.3 and other costs, you know? offhand? It's a substantial-
Right, there's,
I don't know exactly, but generally, what?
yeah, part of that is a developer fee. Essentially how Housing Visions makes their money, to support their operations on these projects. That's a big part of it. And there's in some other. That's the largest part. Tim, I could get back to you with those details.
Yeah,
And I just don't. That's in the high 3s, I think.
yeah, it's 20% of the total
Yeah.
cost, just curious.
So what they provide some financing, the equity, they provide some upfront financing too that will be paid back over the life of the projects.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that also is building in, like, over the life of this thing, they have to pay for their on-site other stuff, so they build in sort of front some of that cost, so it's a large number, but it's honestly over the life of the.
It's a way to get it financed and into basically the whole capital grant upfront, rather than out of operating costs.
Okay,
Is this the first, just housing project we've done? I mean, most of them
No.
have commercial.
No, we've done others, DePaul Housing, actually right here in the city of Oswego, was specifically just a housing project, Hamilton Home.
I knew to
Reinvestment, yeah, Seaway Lofts, I mean, there's other ones, and so we have precedent in the type of housing this is not, setting any precedent, anyway. Originally, I will say, this project was going to have, commercial space for a not-for-profit, museum tenant, however, that tenant wasn't comfortable with, they didn't have the wherewithal to be able to do a long-term project here. It actually hurt their financing because of that. So there's still a community space in here, and there's a playground. There's other things that are part of the project that have some, sort of public use space. But that in particular was taken out. And that was actually at the, sort of the recommendation of the state.
okay. Any other questions? So I'll take a motion on the seeker resolution.
I'll make a motion.
Mel,
We're just adopting this.
seconded Mark.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
I
Any opposed? Motion carries. I need a motion for the inducement resolution.
will make it.
Tim. Second,
I'll second.
Mel. All those in favor?
All right,
Any opposed? Motion carries. The pilot itself.
I'll make a
No.
motion.
Second,
Make it.
Tim. All those in favor?
Aye.
all right.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Final approving resolution.
I'll make the motion.
Mark,
I'll second.
Mel. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Kevin, for the presentation.
Jump to number 8,
Yeah.
Selkirk Lighthouse and Marina. This is the lighthouse at the mouth of the Salmon River in the town of Richland, which has changed hands over 10 years ago now, with the owner, investor who's been developing that property. This is, I don't want to say the last piece, but it's certainly been, they've been building up to this piece, which is to construct a lodge, as described there in the cost benefit analysis. General, more or less on the site of the former hotel that was attached to Lighthouse, sort of famously locally. But it will have, as this reads, it'll have, what is it, 6 1 and 2 bedroom short-term rental units and a large event space on the upper floor. It's they have a couple of, I believe, 3 rental cottages plus 2 units now developed into 2 units in the lighthouse. So they have an active kind of seasonal or vacation rental business going on at the marina, in addition to the other marina businesses. So that's the primary aspect of this project, is construction of that lodge in the hospitality industry. In addition, which I think is an interesting development, they will be taking a section of the existing marina building, which is some high base space in there, but it's essentially a two-story building. They'll be developing a commercial kitchen to provide what they describe as takeout food service, a simple menu, but for fishermen, for visitors that come to the site, for lodge guests, people in the town, people in the area nearby. It's off the beaten path, but there is a fair amount of traffic right back there. In addition to anyone that might come just for the food, and they are the company has recently constructed a pavilion down by the water and a number of other improvements to that property. So if you haven't been up there recently, I recommend taking a trip. Project cost is 3.9 million. The request in front of us is to approve a pilot and sales tax exemption. There is no mortgage recording tax exemption requested. The pilot would be a 10-year UTEP, non-manufacturing UTEP, so it would be maintain the tax revenues that are currently there with the current assessment, and any increase of the assessment would be the 10-year UTEP schedule would be applied for the abatement, dropping over those 10 years. So it's a full regular tax.
They're self-funding this whole thing? $4 million bucks?
There is no financing, correct?
Now they're a LLC out of St. Louis, Missouri.
So there's a story there that just know from talking to the owner. So that there's the current owner is a former Syracuse suburb resident who spent childhood and plenty of time up on the Salmon River in Richland, and right in that area, and literally across from the lighthouse. So this has been kind of this has been that region that there at the mouth has been a family spot for him for his lifetime. The principal owns and operates a business in St. Louis and Southern Illinois, and has decided to make this investment in addition to other investments out there at the mouth of the Salmon River that are not part of this project. So I won't get into detail, but yeah, it's been self-funded,
That's great.
no financing, trying to build a stable business that will, one, support what it offers on an ongoing and permanent basis, but also support the historic, like this historic lighthouse isn't an easy or cheap building to maintain.
And I would say that several years ago, he did a significant, historically accurate renovation, rehabilitation of the lighthouse on his dollar. So I mean, he sort of, it
This
was
is great.
This is almost the capstone project of a 10-year, 11-year journey, including 2 flooding years at Lake Ontario, which he had damage and has nicely recovered from. But
Nice.
So our only contribution to this is the pilot.
pilot and the sales tax exemption, both of which are critical to make this project make sense due to its, particularly its seasonal nature and the small size.
So,
Now we have the slate of agenda, or sorry, the resolutions on the agenda. Little note about seeker. The town of Richland has fully approved the site plan for this lodge. They did a seeker review due to some reasons reviewing their review or reviewing their seeker conclusions. We're going to do our own uncoordinated review as lead agency for this action of improving these IDA benefits. There'll be an unlisted action, and staff and council have reviewed the EAF environmental assessment form and have found that there's no significant environmental impacts from any of the planned developments.
so we're lead agency on this.
You're a lead agency for the purpose of this action, which is the IDA benefits. Yeah.
one last thing I want to make mention of, and Kevin can elaborate on it, is that there was a public hearing held on this yesterday. And it was universal support at that. Actually, county legislator at Gilson spoke very favorably for the project, and stated how it will help the town of Richland area, the fishing industry, as well as the tourism industry overall.
That's right.
And was there anyone there, I got from the school or?
Thank you. That Sarah, the business manager from the Pulaski Central School District, attended. She had requested some information from me about the proposed pilot prior to the public hearing. Stated they had no questions or concerns about the pilot structure. Mostly was gathering information about the timing and impact on the budget. So,
Okay.
which Pulaski School District is very in tune to the details of these things when they come along.
Just one final word on the seeker. We did verify that the town did go through the entire process, adopted part 1, 2, and 3 and a negative declaration. What was unclear is what the classification or type of action they identified this as. So out of an abundance of caution between myself, special counsel, Kevin, we've decided to do our own seeker evaluation. We are in effect concurring with what the town did, but we are formally classifying this as an unlisted action.
And we're doing this cross T's and dot I's.
Yeah.
Basically.
Essentially, yes.
We're not going around any corner.
No, we're not, no, like I said, it's probably belt and suspenders at this point, but really out of an abundance of caution, we felt that it was appropriate to for this agency to do its own analysis.
Okay.
Well, should we vote on it if the analysis isn't done?
It is done.
But is.
Yeah, we're
you did
done
it.
and we're recommending.
Oh, okay, okay. I thought you said they're still gonna do it. I'm
And
like,
that,
No.
yeah,
Okay,
no, that's
all
what
right.
the resolution.
Usually we're adopting theirs in this case, we're doing our own as.
Perfect. okay,
That concurs with their own action.
All right. Can we get a motion for the seal? Mark. Second.
Second.
Tim. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Inducement resolution.
So moved.
Mark. Second.
Second.
Mel. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Pilot resolution.
So moved.
Mark.
Second.
Tim. All those in favor?
Aye.
aye,
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Final approving resolution.
So moved.
Mark.
Mel,
Mel.
me.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Also note that with the new short-term rental.
Hmm.
Bed tax revenue the county will make, there will also be some revenue there as well. They reinvested in the tourism of that community.
Great. Thank you.
Okay.
Great project. Item number 9.
Yeah. So, as you remember from a previous meeting, we had a discussion with Joe Marmon came in from Marmon Enterprises. The business was struggling, having some issues. We're here to announce, I guess, that Joe has been able to sell the buildings, has been able to make the IDA whole and all of his other debtors whole. And that there was a sort of a positive ending to that story. So we're currently working with the new owner of that to see if there's any ways that we can assist them with their business, be it financing otherwise. But just wanted to state that, because this was something that previously come and there had been actions taken by the board, that we have a happy ending to the story, I guess. And it wasn't a happy ending necessarily when as you know, many buildings out in Williamstown had damage from this past winter. This was not one that had escaped that. It had some damage, but ultimately we were able to help them to with the disposition of this, which threw a new wrinkle into it that we weren't expecting, but it still was able to be done. So good ending to the story there, and another opportunity for another business to flourish.
Who bought it?
A company called American Material Processing. They are one that sort of is within the machinery manufacturing and machinery refurbishing industry. So
Nothing to do with flooring.
nothing to do with flooring. No. So.
Okay.
Um,
Thank you. Any other
Nothing to do with
questions?
Food trucks or lawn care.
There we go.
No.
Item number 10.
So AUB of CNY and Travery Manufacturing is which we don't say this too often, is a startup manufacturer. You have a cost, you don't have a full cost benefit yet. This is our initial resolution on the agenda. So this is a project summary. The details and the benefits and such would come at the next meeting. But before we jump into the details, we should cover that Caracole Law represents both the applicant and the agency in this arrangement or in this application. So Kevin is preparing a conflict waiver letter, I
Yeah.
think, and
Yeah,
turn that to you, Kevin.
thanks, Kevin. So similar to what we've done in other projects, my office has been a longstanding client of record for Adam Avery and his multiple companies. I've asked for this consideration previously, particularly the IDA, most recently with the Latatro development and some of the nursing home projects he's undertaken. My firm has handled all of that transactional work for both Adam and the IDA. The one point I would make out, and it's a similar reasoning for number 11, where you're asking, or Barclay Damon's asking for a conflict waiver. In both situations, we both work on these projects together. So there is a separate legal review that's done for the benefit of the agency on top of the work that we do. So I'm asking for your consideration in waiving any conflict of interest as it relates to this particular project.
Any questions?
You feel comfortable wearing two hats?
I do, as I've done previously. I think it's a good project. As Kevin will get into some more of the details, it's kind of exciting,
Pretty
unique.
exciting,
One other thing I'll add is that, obviously this is a little before we, is that in the application, Adam has not asked for anything outside of the manufacturing uniform tax exempt policy. So it's not that Kevin is negotiating something above and beyond what would be typical for that type of project. So
It's truly more transactional work than anything else.
So any questions for Kevin about the conflict waiver request? Perhaps.
So we should vote on that,
And
right?
continue on.
Can we get a motion on that?
I'll second that.
Motion by Tim, seconded by Mark. Any questions? Comments, concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay,
So
Kevin,
in front of us is the initial resolution for this project, which is to mention the startup manufacturer of, and you can get to engineered wood trusses, using latest and greatest of technology. The project is the building that formerly housed Wiltsey Construction used to be Wiltsey's operation has been acquired for this project in the city of Oswego, and that's where it'll be developed to be a small addition to one of the buildings. And the primary item in the budget, as you can see, is equipment and machinery. And the company is looking through that with the vendors. They've been to see the equipment, et cetera, et cetera. So this will be a fairly quick project in that there's no serious construction, but there is some renovation and demolition to do inside those buildings, some concrete work and other things.
there's a small addition of about 1,000 square foot, but not any major construction on that project.
And so anyway, that's about all there is to say right now. It's anticipated to create 22 full-time and 22 new full-time jobs as well as construction jobs.
Kevin, one thing I noticed in this does not include the acquisition cost.
Right, based on the advice of special counsel, we left the acquisition cost out of this, given that it's already been acquired and there's really no benefits going to that
Right. I
acquisition.
guess, but my point is though that he's already acquired the
Yeah.
property at a cost of $850,000, I believe.
So we have a startup manufacturer here with an investment total, including the building, of over $10 million, expected to create 22 new jobs in the city. So I think there's a lot to be said for that.
absolutely.
So the redevelopment of a vacant industrial building in a distressed census tract.
Love to see that.
So the initial resolution is on the agenda. If that's approved, we'll go ahead and schedule the public hearing. That I overlooked, but it's on your sheets that the company has also requested financing from the IDA. So we propose to use, and more details will come on this at the next meeting, but our HUD lending fund, which we have plenty of available lending dollars in there. So details to be discussed at the next meeting. So
I'm excited about this project. I think it's, having heard that longstanding company way, project like this coming in, again, bringing in 22 full-time and another 20 temporary construction jobs. And at $1 million payroll, I think this is a huge win for the community. So excited to see that.
agreed.
It's also one that is sort of seeing the opportunity that's coming to Central New York related to the growth we're going to see from Micron and other things, and really taking advantage of that opportunity and growing it, not necessarily in the semiconductor, but seeing what's coming and saying, hey, we're in a need for trusses in this market for new housing and commercial development. So
Yep.
I think it's great.
Checks a box or two on the housing study too.
Yes, it does.
Mhm.
Okay.
Any questions, comments? Can we get a motion for the initial resolution, please?
I'll make the motion.
Approve the
I'll second.
Yeah.
Okay, we did.
Mark.
You've already did the request.
Yeah.
Motion by Mel, seconded by Mark. Any questions, comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
As we've said in the past, you guys understand this, but the initial resolution is one just determining the project's eligibility and authorizing us to schedule a public hearing to discuss the benefits and related to the project. So
step one.
Okay,
Okay, for number 11, we have a guest here, which I'll invite in. The first, guess I can start. The first order of business is the client. And us are both represented by Barclay Damon, so they've asked for a conflict waiver request, similar as Kevin described prior.
Kevin,
Yeah.
real quick, the spelling of Travery, I've seen it two different ways. Which one is the correct? It's either capital T, small r, capital A, or is it
The
just?
state spells it like it's on the agenda.
Okay.
Adam likes.
They don't designate upper and lowercase.
Oh.
So you use sentence or title K,
Yeah,
but
Avery it's
it's a
so it's
that's
a play on the names of the two principals.
Okay.
it's a trademark spelled that way, but the name is that, in my opinion.
Okay, I just trying to throw my, okay, which, all right, no problem.
Adam
So the,
picks creative names.
so similar to my request, and I'll kind of pinch it for Barclay Damon. They are representing Ed Albert's company here and have asked for a similar conflict waiver. Again, similar to the one I asked for, they point out directly that that my office, myself, will be involved in doing the legal review as well as I do at every project. So I have every confidence that there's no issue here.
questions, comments?
I'll just add one other thing is that, Barclay Damon's a very large firm and the representation that we have at the IDA is completely separate, different department, different team, everything from that is representing Ed that represents us. So there's also layers of insulation there as well.
Okay.
Good.
Can I get a motion for the conflict waiver? Tim, second.
Well,
No. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
We're gonna bring in the guest and then we'll further discussion on that item.
You.
yeah.
Good. How are you? Want to have a seat? Welcome.
Subs for dinner too.
Hello.
Remember, he had that sheet to discuss.
Yeah.
You start this.
Hello?
Yeah. So, obviously, we have a project summary in front of us, but it's probably not a better person to talk about the project than Ed. So, before we get into it, I just want to make everybody familiar. This is a project revolving around the acquisition and renovation of two mixed-use buildings down in downtown Oswego that most people would know as sort of the home of where the Children's Museum and Murdoch's and apartments above it. But I will turn it over to Ed to really kind of discuss what you're looking to do and sort of why you're looking for assistance from the IDA.
Sure. Thanks for having me today. So a little bit over a year ago, the Children's Museum, who owns the building, the red building owns the Children's Museum and the yellow.
And let me just say also, and just if there's anything that's related to contractual or financial or things like that, we could save that for executive session and just we're recorded right now. So anything you don't want to have out there, just that's sort of a heads up.
I understand. Nope. So they approached me and they had gotten to the point really where they really didn't want to manage the building anymore. So they just wanted to operate the Children's Museum. So they approached me to see if I'd be interested in purchasing the building and working with them on a lease so they can continue to operate the Children's Museum. So we've worked with them over the past year and come to the point now where we would like to do that. We would like to offer them a lease. They've agreed to that lease. It's a long-term lease to keep the Children's Museum downtown. And that's the point we're at right now. We're coming to ask assistance here. Just because it's going to take some work to get that building to where we need it to be. We're going to add apartments to the building. And we also need to renovate some of the plumbing, electrical, roof, elevator, and a list of other things that capital improvements that need to be done on the building that the Children's Museum just wasn't able to do over the last few years.
So currently the Children's Museum owns this whole thing that you're talking about, or is there two separate owners for that and Murdoch's
Yeah,
space?
it's one parcel and
parcel?
they own both parcels, right?
So they lease, sublease they lease out to Murdoch's.
Correct.
Okay.
And just other things, obviously, that are listed here in the project description, is you know that this project is the reinvestment in an original Oswego DRI priority project. You know, the project will support the retention of 3 full-time and 6 part-time tenant jobs with an expected future annual payroll, down the road of over 500,000. And the project would create 20 temporary construction jobs. Also in here, you know, and this is, you know, for the application, you know, the project is approximately a $3,525,000 project where it's going to have a portion of equity and a portion of financing. And yeah, it's another project where these are going to retain jobs and create construction jobs in a highly distressed census tract. This census tract is the most distressed in the city of Oswego. So just more information for your purposes, but you know, I think that the IDA's special counsel, along with CFO and CEO, have reviewed the project and determined that it is eligible for IDA benefits. So as you know, we say this is an initial resolution where we are looking at the eligibility of the project and we're scheduling a public hearing. That item has been reviewed and has been determined to be eligible for many reasons, but just so you understand, one, from both the type of project that it is, as well as it being in a distressed community, it's an eligible project. So
Now, when you say retention of 3 part-time and 6 full-times, those are the jobs in the 2.
oh,
In the
it's
museum.
sorry, that's actually
It's the other
3
way.
full-time, 6 part-time. It's correct up in the top and then it's incorrect down at the bottom.
Okay, so that's the people that are working there in those 2 shops now you're talking about
I just,
the retention?
Ed maybe could better. I just want to be very clear on this. It's not necessarily the exact people or mix of which storefront they work in. It's the quantity.
Okay,
So there are things could change between the mix. That's why we just have a total number, not jobs by commercial tenant.
Right.
okay.
You could also see commercial tenants could change over a long-term lease.
And I'm sorry, Ed, please. add
That's
that.
correct.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
It's important in this case.
Is there a possibility of leasing any of the basement space up on the Water Street? Is that, or is that too far down the road and where the road is?
Yeah, it's a little bit far down the road.
Okay.
We do think some of that basement space can be turned into some storage for the
Okay.
apartments. And we also want to clean up that space right behind it where the garbage is.
Okay.
And move that somewhere else.
The owner of the brewery will probably appreciate that.
I think it probably would.
Ed, is there anything else? I mean, I think that, you know, one of the things we've identified is in the impact here and shouldn't be lost on the members is that this project and doing what you're doing supports the long-term sustainability of the Children's Museum. You know, you identified that they're not in business to be a landlord or they're in business to be a children's museum and do the best job. And this project will help them to be able to be in that space long-term and focus on what their core mission is. So I want the board to understand that this is not your typical, you know, mixed use development, you know, it's find the tenants kind of a thing, that this is keeping somebody who is a major tourism asset and attraction to the city of Oswego in place long-term and be successful.
It is. And we have a 25-year lease that we want to keep them there for a long, long time.
If I could, the data we were shown maybe a couple years back showed that more than 51% of the visitors to the Children's Museum came from out of the county. So that's absolutely true.
One last point on that, in furtherance of economic development, and this project was part of the city of Oswego's DRI initiative as well. So the state supported this particular project.
I think it's good all around.
The state supported it during the DRI and gave money to the redevelopment of the building for the Children's Museum, right?
That's
That's what we're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not the,
Not the
what has to be done now.
Correct.
Correct.
But-
Different purpose, right?
Yeah, but the original.
Mike done a great job on all the other projects.
Thank you. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Will we be talking financing for the IDA at some point in this process, or is that
There hasn't been a direct request for financing from the IDA at this point, but there could be some other, I will say now that, following initial resolution, there are some discussions to be had related to this project in executive session related to contractual or financial matters. So,
Okay,
just for transparency. That's
so what we're doing right now is just the initial resolution.
Yeah,
Just
no
trying to
reason not. Yeah, if you choose to approve that now ahead of executive session, it's not in conflict with what will be discussed in executive session. I think it's really clear. So
Why don't we do that, and then we can go into executive session and have that discussion
I think so.
and move on, because I don't think there's gonna be any resistance to the initial resolution here, right? Can I get a motion for the Mark,
Second,
seconded by Mel? All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Now, Kevin, I believe we need to go into executive session for some reasons. Can you explain those?
Yeah, so be under Public Officers Law, Section 105, for the purpose of discussing financial or employment history of a particular corporation or individual. Also, we will be discussing on the agenda the delinquent loan updates. There might be some pending or threatened litigation discussions.
potential financial assistance for another project.
Right. So for all those reasons, the request for going into executive session has been made.
Okay. Can I get a motion?
Second.
Mark, seconded by Tim. It is 2:18. All those in favor of going into executive session? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 2:18.